Let's reflect on what happened last night, Gabs, because Arsenal are into the Champions League final, their first in 20 years. Go on, say something positive.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were going to...
No, I was asking...
Sorry. Listen, Arsenal done what needed to be done last night. It wasn't the greatest of games. Atletico Madrid wasn't great. Everyone knew when Arsenal's route to the final was mentioned that they'd get to the final. They're by far better than Leverkusen, better than Atletico Madrid, better than Sporting Lisbon. And last night they'd done what they needed to do. I thought it was a brave decision, playing Lewis Skelly instead of Zubamendi, playing the exact same side to beat Fulham. But I like that from Arteta because you want to play players that are in form, you want to play players that are confident, and they were that good against Fulham. It worked. Yeah, and they've got the job done. He's done what they set out to do. They're into the final now. When you say the job's done, well, the hard bit's still to come. But when you look at it being a final, then that one-off game, they are capable of winning it, Gabs, no doubt about it. And if I was an Arsenal fan, player, manager, I'd want to play Bayern Munich. And I think Bayern Munich go through tonight, only because defensively they are not as good as PSG. I look at them and I look at the way Arsenal will go about the game. Timber might be back. You might put Hincapié back in there. They'll make it difficult for Bayern. They're not going to be open like PSG were in the last game last week. And on the counter-attack, Martinelli, Saka, Gyökeres played very well last night. They can really hurt Bayern Munich. So a one-off game, Bayern Munich might be the better team all round. But don't put it past Arsenal to go and win the Champions League. Yeah,
1-0 last night in that leg to the Arsenal. Bukayo Saka, you know, signed for Arsenal when he was 8 years old and then scores the goal to take them to the final. He's something else. Their first final in 20 years. His goal was enough to help the Gunners overcome Atletico Madrid. It was 2-1 on aggregate, going one better than last season's semi-final exit. We heard from Mikel Arteta after the game with glowing praise for the players and for the fans for what they've achieved.
Yeah, it's an incredible night. We made history again together, and I cannot be happier, prouder for everybody that is involved in this football club. The manner that we got received outside the stadium already was special and unique. The atmosphere that our supporters created, the energy, the way they lift every ball with us, it made it special and unique. I never felt that in the stadium. And we knew how much it meant to everybody. We put everything. The boys did an incredible job. And yeah, after 20 years and for the second time in our history, we are back in the Champions League final.
Fair play. He looks happy, doesn't he? He looks happy there last night. And he deserves to be, Gabby, because there's so much pressure on them. And the fans, credit to them, they get it tight on talkSPORT a lot of the time. Yes. They were excellent last night.
Listen, it was a special occasion last night for Arsenal fans, for the football club. And I don't want to be negative, but if you look at their route, deservedly finishing top of the league stage, but their route to the final, they should be in the final. Now the hard work starts, preparing for that. Can they get over the challenge of West Ham on the weekend? I think if they beat West Ham, they win the Premier League. Then you're going to play against the PSG or a Bayern side, who are a top side. That's where you want to see how can you do in a final against a team with quality all round. Because no offence to Atletico Madrid, but they are not a great side. Not doing well in La Liga. Didn't really lay a glove on Arsenal. Lookman, who's a great player, poor. Griezmann, there's a reason why he's moving to the MLS in the summer. Alvarez looked injured in the game. Defensively, they weren't great. Sorloth, when he come on, looked a bit like Liam Delap, to be honest, this season. Poor.
Don't be shady.
So, no, I think Arsenal should be proud of their achievements so far, but still, they need to get over the line.
Sorry, just to go back on that, you said then they should have been in a final,
Definitely.
But through topping the group in the league phase.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, they deserve that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They deserve that running.
100%, that's what you do. Teams that don't finish near the top of the table deserve to have harder routes that have been knocked out. Look at your Manchester City's, Real Madrid's that have gone out. You should be rewarded with quite an easy route to the final. Right. Sporting Lisbon, Leverkusen, Atletico Madrid, Arsenal, you know, Arteta has spent, what is it, £1 billion to build that squad of players. Look at yesterday. They've got Martinelli they can bring on, Madueke, Zubamendi, Hincapié can come on, Mosquera can come on. When they've got all their fit players, Arsenal, they've got enough to go toe-to-toe with anyone.
Tuned into the sports bar coming up here this morning.
So
Listen
did
back,
I.
crying. It's such a good show.
Blobby.
Bob the Blob, who phoned up last night. Jamie and Jason just having it out with basically everybody who called them yesterday. Jamie O'Hara was champing at the bit to have his say on Arsenal making the final. He reckons the Gunners were, as Gabby says, quite lucky.
Toilet, mate. They literally got a bye. Like, Arsenal got a bye into the final tonight. That was turgid. Guff. Garbage. Like, how are they in the semi-final? How are they in the semi-final? They're absolutely Sorlov up front. Sorlov couldn't hit a barn door.
Sloth.
Honestly, it was embarrassing what I was watching.
Jay.
Embarrassing.
Listen.
Diego Simeone's on about £40 million a year.
Jay.
The thoughts of Jamie O'Hara last night on the sports bar. I think a lot of people were disappointed by then how little a fight Atletico put up.
Yeah, it was a really odd 2 legs from Atletico Madrid, because when you watch them in the one-off games I have this season, Lookman's look sharp, Alvarez, Griezmann, Llorente, but over the 2 legs, did they lay a glove on Arsenal? I mean, last night at times they tried, could have had a penalty. I think it was a penalty on Griezmann from Calafiore after the Gabriel challenge, but Arsenal were quite comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, second half especially, it was like, we won't try and score another one, but we know you're not really going to hurt us. If they played a better side, PSG or Bayern Munich in the semi-final, I think Arsenal get knocked out. But like we says, you know, when you win the group, the league stage, you deserve that route. Now they've got to go, and it could be a historic double for Arsenal.
It could be. We're going to look ahead to the final on the show today. Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you this morning. Are you still out? Are you just making your way home? We heard from fans in the sports bar last night who were going out after the game. That number is 03717223344. Do you think you'll get over the line? Are you still feeling the jitters or the nerves? It's a one-off game. Can you beat PSG or Bayern Munich? They already beat Bayern earlier on in the league phase, didn't
Yes, I think as well. Yeah, but you know the thing about that, Shebahn, is that was at home against Bayern Munich. This to be a neutral venue. It's a different part of the competition. So I don't think you could look at maybe, I think it was a 3-1 win against Bayern Munich. Yeah. You can't look at that result because this Bayern team have got better and better throughout the season.
Oh, I disagree. I think if they're playing Bayern, they'll be filled with confidence, knowing that they've beaten them already, knowing that Bayern concede, and that's the last thing Arsenal do, really.
Of course, yeah.
6 goals they've conceded in the whole competition.
Or Harry Kane against Arsenal. That will scare them.
Yeah, it's all about Arsenal. Back pages today, Sam.
Absolutely dominated. We've got Double Dream. They're simply the pest, all guns blazing. And of course, this is after last night's 1-0 victory over Atletico, setting up their first Champions League final in 20 years. We all know how much Gabby loves to talk about it. But again, you've mentioned it earlier on in the show. I mean, is it fully dependent on who they're going to play in the final, whether they are going to win the Champions League? And also, I don't know about you, I felt like there was an air of confidence last night, whereas I feel amongst Arsenal players and the fans, it's been more caution, nerves, not expectation. Has that mentality shift, you think?
I think it has done. I think the Fulham game, the performance that Arsenal players put in, they looked like they were back to their best. Like I said earlier, for Arteta to name the same team, leave Zubimendi on the bench, Nkapie on the bench, and start Luis Skelly and Calafiore, I think whoever they play, Bayern or PSG, they'll play a certain game where they'll frustrate the life out of them. You know, Dembele, if it's Kvaratskhelia, Diaz, Elise, he'll have a plan, Arteta. He'll play his defensive players, without Nkapie at left back, if Timber's back, or Mascara at right back. And Arsenal know on the counter-attack they can hurt anyone. A one-off game as well. Silly handball. We've seen some of the decisions that have been given now in the Champions League. It can be done, and it could be a historic double for Arsenal.
Do you know what this reminds me of, Sam? And a lot of people won't like this comparison, but last season, Champions League women, Arsenal, nobody gave them a sniff against Barcelona because they're such a quality team and they possess the ball and they bop it around, and Arsenal women weren't playing like that. And they just made it difficult, and they took their chance, and they're current champions, you know, of Europe. And I just look and go, maybe I see Arsenal actually doing all right in this final, because I think maybe they'll sit and frustrate whoever it might be, and I reckon Saka will win it for them.
And I think as well, if they can win on Sunday and hope City drop more points, maybe the league's wrapped up earlier than we all thought it would be. They can rest players in their last game of the season, and then you never know.
I think it's fascinating as well having this conversation, considering the beginning of the season, everyone was saying, listen, if Arteta doesn't get any silverware, pressure's on. Is he out? Does he get the sack? He's had enough time to develop his team and get to where he needs to be. But now they're sat here, potentially, 4 games away from doing the double. Did you ever envisage that Arsenal would be sat in this position, considering the conversations we had earlier on in the season?
I didn't think the double, but I thought they'd win a major trophy, and so they should. Let's not get carried away here. The money that Arsenal have spent, Arteta has been given over £1 billion to spend. The club have given the keys to Arsenal. He's got to win the big trophies. You know, no trophy since the FA Cup that they won with the amazing Unai Emery's team. But they should be winning season after season the big trophies, the Champions Leagues, the Premier Leagues. That's why they've invested so much last summer. Look at the players that they brought in, summer after summer. Whatever you want, Arteta, you get. Now go and win. So they've not done nothing yet, though.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on what Wayne Rooney was saying after the game? He was saying it's a bit much, this. They've not won anything yet. Fireworks, celebrations. Because there's two sides to this. A lot of, I think Righty tweeted, enjoy the celebrations, Arsenal fans. It's been a long time coming. What are your thoughts? What do you reckon, Shebahn? Too much?
Yeah, a bit. Even the sports bar callers last night, it is all, they're singing, they're chanting, they're making everyone go, you've mugged us off all season. It's like, but you haven't won anything yet. And other supporters of other clubs don't have to support you on this journey. That's the point of football. Rivalry's healthy. I mean, this might be the biggest hate watch that we've seen, this final. A lot of people do not want Arsenal to win this game. I don't mind. I do think some of the fans are overbearing, but it was nice to see them happy last night. You're in a final, you've got to be happy about that.
Yeah, I get being happy, but like you said, fireworks and the players doing a tour of the stadium after the final whistle. It's like, relax. You've still got a massive, 4 or 5 games left, and you've got a final against Bayern or PSG.
Do you think
PSG will want to go back to back? Bayern Munich haven't won it in 6 years, so it's going to be a tough final. And maybe Arsenal don't win a trophy. We don't know yet. Still all to play for.